It's Will coming at you with another video here. We're taking a look at something big. So last time we did, as of this video, there should be another tank armor review before this one that I put out, but we'll see what comes out first. Anyways, there was a box I did before this. It kind of goes hand in hand. So without further ado, Marines. So taking a look here, not going to be as edited as the last one because I didn't buy a lot of them. I just got this, though I do have other Americans with, alongside this. I never had the Marines, though I never planned to have a Marine army for my Americans. I planned to do, and I am doing for my Americans at least, an airborne division. Basically basing them off the airborne from Company of Heroes 1, which I know they're based off like the Eagles or whatever they're called. But basically that army I'm building for my Americans. So, but as soon as we all know, the month of this recording, it's November Madness at Warlord. So each sort of couple of days or a week, what they did was they're going through all the different factions and games and stuff, and they're giving up to 50% off things. And this was one of the boxes that were on sale. And along with points I had saved and discount codes and major discounts and stuff, I was able to get this for basically the same price that you would a, paratrooper start collecting box for, European pricing. So like freaking $80 or whatever, $100 flat. So I wanted a half track, so. And again, they do what I like that they did with the Japanese, which is they have physical representation of how they built the army list in here instead of just having a block of text on the side. So we're going to open this up. First off we have is our half track, and again we'll probably do a more in-depth video on that. We have, it looks like the Marine sprues still have the weapons. We have 7 infantry sprues. Transfers in the data card. We have on the bottom here, they want to resist. We have a bunch of these tiny little cut sprues. Again, literally how the sprues are made from Warlord is they would be normally on the bottom, but they chop them off to fit in the box. Your thing of 60 mil bases and your thing of laydown. Basically, they give you a if you buy the sprues separately or the bases separately, it's basically one of those kits that they just throw in here of equal value. You're just missing the 40 mil bases. Then we have what looks like to be our anti-tank gun. Yep. Then we have our mortar. You always need a mortar. We have our flamethrower medics. We have our 230 cal teams, because I believe they give you 2 in here. And markers. And your sheets on how to make them. There you go. You guys can see that, so yeah, so I'm going to go build this and I'll lay them out, and when we come back we'll talk more in depth about the box and how I would build them and run them. See you guys there. Now we're going to actually take a more deeper look at the sprues and the vehicle that comes with it. Along with, we will have the metal weapon teams and stuff and all the models built at the end of this video. So let's get right into it. Starting off with the infantry sprue. This is kind of a 3-piecer. If you think about it that way, there'd be technically at the end a line of 5. So here we are. Here's the 2 sprues. So normally you'd have, for every one of these sprues, you'd have like 3 of these. I think the box comes with a little bit more than that, but we'll see. But anyways, we opened the box already. That's why we're only looking at 1 sprue right now. So looking at it here, we're gonna zoom in for you guys. But here you go. We have the bottom here with the heads, and then we have more, so helmeted heads here. And we have the backpacks and webbing. So like you take 2 of these and you combine them to make their belts. It's the only real issue I have with the Americans is their stupid webbing isn't glued to their body, though it makes their models super customizable because of that. We have their arms. A lot of them are still kind of that old style where you gotta glue the weapons into them. You got some binoculars, more hands, crawling hands, bags. Arm crawling with the carbine, backpacks, shotgun webbing, different legs for laying down. And this one actually has quite a bit of ones for crouching and stuff, surprisingly. So they're uniform crouching, laying down, standing, another one crouching. So you can easily make snipers and bazooka teams out of these models or other weapon teams. A lot of their differences is going to be in their boots, where they have the gaiters, ducks, whatever you want to call it, and on their arms on this sprue where they're all rolled up. There is also this bag down here. There's also this bag down here, which is the medic bag, which is unique to it. Plus, we have on here charging arm. So like charging with bayonet on the M1 Garand. And we have the other ones and shotguns and Thompsons. So you can have on this unit, especially if you're doing a late war Marine unit, which I'm going to be doing, you can have 2 SMGs plus 2 bars. And it's a 7-man unit. That includes the NCO, or 6-man plus NCO. And this is again from the core rulebook. Then we have on the weapons sprue, you have your bazooka, you have some of your M1 Garands with the bayonets or knives. You got your Thompsons, your bars, and your Springfield, your Grace gun, ammo pouches to go on the sides, more ammo pouches, a spare bag for making your medic if you're just doing normal, because again they throw this into all American infantry boxes that are plastic, except for I think airborne is the only one that isn't. I think all their stuff is molded on. And we have little loose bits like grenades, binoculars, handgun pouches. Your Marines can take handguns as a point upgrade or something like that, so that they get the basically tough fighter, whatever, close combat stuff. You have your bag here for your bazooka rounds, or I like to use them as Bangalore charges to represent my engineers. Got some carbines, so it's kind of like your engineers sprue slash your technicians, your webbings, your tanker stuff. And then of course we have your just basic M1 Garands here for loose doing stuff. And if you wanted to make these early war Marines, you can basically, if you guys want to use your early war, you have these Springfield rifles here that you can use to build your dudes. I don't know why the camera wants to be acting up this way, but it's acting up. Last but not least, we have our sheet, which tells you what the bits are on the thing. And on the back here, it tells you the weapon stuff and the different ways they painted them and weapon loadouts. Going into our next one, we're going to be looking at the half track that comes with this. Although there isn't a quote-unquote expansion for this. It has a basically another HQ squad, so you can run 2 platoons, 2 reinforced platoons, and a Sherman. This is the transfer sheet. It has the ambulance and stuff, French stuff, bunch of stars. Bunch of stars and stuff. Then we have the data card. Starting at an experience at 78 points, and at veterans it's 118. And on the back it gives us our details. Half track, it's a tracked transport, can hold up to 12 dudes. It's a damage value of 7. It's basically the Hannah mag, but American, and it can have more machine guns on it because Americans. Put that back in the bag. I believe it can also have, its 360 one can have an HMG as an upgrade. So we have the instruction manual. Again, kind of like that old sheet, just like the Sherman. And you can kind of have your armored panels down or up. But you have your panels open and close. And of course your stuff to add extra bits to if you want to. And last but not least, we have the sprues themselves. There is only 2 sprues in this one. So we're going to take a look again. This is basically your allies' first transport vehicle. All factions can use this, including Russians and the British. You can, and most likely will get, universal carriers if you get the Canadians or the British starter sets, but unless you get 2 in the box, they're not worth it. If you want them, I'd recommend buying the 8th Army carrier set, which comes with 2 of them plus a unit. Because they have a special rule where you can split up your infantry units to fit into 2 of them as long as they stay close together. So, we're going to take a look here, starting at the corner. As is tradition, we have your guns that clip on the side, a storage box for the side, your springs for your front tires, your armor casing for the front, your transmission, your anti-ditch stuff, depending on how you want to go at your jerry cans, your tires. We have your front hood, back, grill, side, tracks, bed, and then we have the main body. So we have, this is the interior, and that sits on top of this. Then we have the back exterior. We have some stuff to hold landmines and things on the side. Inside seats and chair backings. Your 360 turret. And your backpacks and driver. The driver's pretty decent. He is again smaller because you know it's in a vehicle. And then of course your H&G. But yeah, so that's the sprues and like basic infantry and stuff of the box. We're going to go in and build this, and when we come back to the end of this video, we're going to look at the entire army as it is and how I'd recommend building it and playing it. But we'll see you guys there. As you can see in front of you here, I have finished the box for the US Marines, and plus a couple of extra models I bought on the side. So as you may have not known, or those who are watching who may have known, Warlord likes to do basically a Black Friday but all month on November. Though if you did miss it, or you want to try a different faction because maybe you missed for the year, or you're just learning about it now, good news is we've got some insider information from a member of Warlord that they might be doing another one for Christmas / Boxing Day. We're going to get, just like the Japanese box we did, we're going to go through all the units in the box that it comes with. Then we're going to go over some extras that I would recommend to throw in, even if I don't have them physically here. And then we're going to talk about the campaign book that I'd recommend buying alongside this if you want to play the Marines at least. There is stuff in there for the Japanese that are pretty decent. So starting off, how I've built this, how I've rounded this out, we have our lieutenant, our secondary, and out of the box I was able to, with some extra bits, make a radio man / secondary for him. So I can either use him as a spotter, or I can use him as a second to the lieutenant and then throw the SMG guy back into a squad. Though I am really liking this dude, though I'd probably want to find an actual legit model for this radio dude, because from a distance he'll be passable as a radio man, but I'd rather have the actual legit radios for them. So we have our lieutenant there. Then in the back we have our flamethrower team in metal. Then we were able to make 2 bazooka teams, which in your Marine lists in the core just US Army book, you can do that. We have our sniper team. And then going through the back here, we have our first MMG team, or HMG if you want to proxy. Pick up and running, that's a Marine one. We have the light anti-tank gun. It's the 37 anti-tank gun. A lot of the American stuff, they don't really like give a like medium, light, whatever, like the other factions do. So it's a 37. I'm guessing it's a light. Because, you know, fighting Japanese armor, you don't need to go too heavy. Medium is like overkill. Or medium is like comfortable. Heavy is like freaking overkill. Then we have our Marine specific mortar team, which never leave home without one. And our secondary MMG team. And then lastly, this box comes with a medic. Looking at this horde of gray, we have our 30 infantry. Though the box does give you enough to make 3 or 4 more laying down dudes, I just kind of decided not to build them because I don't really like the laying down guys as much. I like saving them for weapon teams and stuff. So I have them just saved in my bits bin in their box, in their bag marked for it. So if I 3D print any weapons and stuff, I can just use them. So, extra bodies. I can do something with them. I can give them away to people who want them. But let's get over this. So here we have how I've laid it out and built them. We have 30 dudes in groups of 6. That's the minimum for at least the core Army book of America, a Marine squad. Later war is about 6 or so in total, and depending on which version you want to build them, they actually do kind of have a big difference between what they can take. Though I've built these guys to represent the layout of a second a late war version of the Marines. I have given them early war weapons because I want to reflect the landings of the landings on the islands and stuff. So a lot of my dudes are action pose. A lot of their stuff is going to be like sandy, like pants and stuff, and beaches, and I'm going to basically tropical their bases. I had a thought and it disappeared on me. If you wanted to do the early war stuff, they do give you the extra weapon sprues, and some of the pre-molded arms with weapons do have those early Springfields. For those who may have not known, when the Marines first kind of became a thing, they didn't have the stuff that the Army was getting. They kind of like stole that from the Army dudes that would come later to relieve them, to hold the area. So their main rifle was a Springfield, like the bolt actions, and their machine guns were the Vickers water cooled. Going into their loadout, as we can talk about it kitting out here, as I focus, we have our NCO, which a submachine gun. We have 1, 2, 3 rifles. 4 rifles. No, 3 rifles. Yeah, 3 rifles. We have our second SMG, and we have a bar. Now, these are in squads of 6s. I've also built them in mind to keep them in, I could make 2 to 3 squads of like 8 or even 10. So if I was doing this in 10, you basically just drop the 2 SMGs and you merge another squad into it, basically. So that's how you do it for that. There is also, the Marines get access to a lot of shotguns, so basically a good chunk of their dudes can replace their rifles for shotguns. Rules as they are in the Peleliu, however you say it, in Core Army book, they kind of suck and not worth it. Do not take shotguns if you want competitive. Now, if you want to build the models to look like it, highly recommend it. I love the shotgun look. I'm just going to run them as rifles. We have our shotgun boy right there. Crouched, his arms, his sleeves ripped. A lot of the arms on this sprue is actually really cool, and they got like that Marine feel. Their clothing and uniform are ripped and stuff. There is actually quite a difference between the normal Army soldier, sort of like doughboy body, and the Marine bodies. Same with their helmets and stuff. A really nice kit. Definitely one of their more newer stuff, along with the paratroopers, which have arms and stuff already pre-molded holding their guns, unlike all the other infantry plastics that they make for the Americans. With the extras, we do have this truck does come with the set, though I'd probably either make it as a transport, load it up with MMGs and an HMG. Don't use it as an ambulance unless you have other armor to defend yourself with. You definitely want the armored transport for your flamethrower team and your other teams, or your infantry if you're, fighting against the Japanese starter box, because that's your armor. And it can also tow your gun and stuff pretty far, so it's good for that. The next model I would probably buy out of this box is this guy right here. This is their LVT landing ship. This is an amphibious tank. I bought the just generic tank version one, so it has the Stuart top plus the 2 machine gunners in the back. I'd probably recommend the other version of this, which has a bigger gun slash you can say it's the flamethrower version, which is in this book. The nice thing too is, again, if you have cool friends, I'll just pop the top off and say, no, this is the transport variant, and then you just play with it facing this way, because the machine gun guys would be that way instead. Basically, that's what I'd add extra. If you buy their quote-unquote expansion pack, you do get a Sherman, which here it is, fully painted. If you guys haven't seen my last video, go take a look on it, where we talk about Kay and her howitzer Sherman. With that last section here, getting into the end before my camera dies, hopefully, we're going to be talking about how I kit this army. Then we'll talk about the book as a bonus. So how I would kit this army out is how you see it here. You want your lieutenant with 1 dude, and then I would run 2 bazookas, your sniper team, and then of course the rest of your other team. And then for your infantry, I run them in 6 men or in 10 men, taking at least 1 SMG for your sergeant. You want your 2 bars, and then the rest would be rifles. If you have a little bit more points and maybe doing smaller teams, or you drop a weapon team, like you don't take a bazooka team or the anti-tank team, then I would probably give another SMG. But for the most part, I'd stick with rifles and bars, just because then you get that American Army special rule, the fire and maneuver, because the SMGs do not get that, but they're assault anyways, so they kind of ignore. You're basically playing, this is the Blood Angels army or basically the Space Wolves army of the Americans. Airborne can be pretty tough and pretty quick because they're airborne, though you're going to be running a lot more SMGs with them, and rifles. You're going to be running definitely a lot more rifles with them. They're going to be your tough range combat with close combat capabilities. So you use you kind of mess with your opponent's mind, being like, some of them have rifles while others have SMGs. You're running like a nice mix with them, because they can withstand the pelting. And then once they get in, they hit. Whereas with the Marines, they are definitely very much a move and shoot, get to cover army, because you're fighting another army whose whole purpose is to charge at you. So the best way to defend against that is to either outmaneuver them or to beat them to their own game, which the Marines are very good for that with their rules. And in the Peleliu book, every unit basically has a flamethrower. So if there's anything I can recommend to add to this box is take the Palau book and replace at least 1 SMG dude in each of these squads with a flamethrower model. That can be either a 3D printed version, or you can buy the weapon teams, or even make your own if you're good with green stuff. The flamethrower is literally just, the generic American flamethrower you can find out there. And you basically have enough to make those special units and run this army. You basically want more flamethrowers. The only one that can out flamethrower the Marines in the game right now is the Italians, but the Marines do it a lot more naturally, and they have a lot more bodies to do it. So it's like a nice mix of a Russian and Italian army. With that, I'm gonna go. My battery's almost dead. I don't have enough time to review the book. I'll probably do it in another video with about it. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I enjoyed building them. and I can't wait to play a game of bolt action with my Japanese versus my Americans. Basically just using the starter boxes plus an extra model that I would recommend to add to it. But yeah, with that guys, we will see you in the next video. Bye-bye. Click the video. Click it. Click the video. You know you want to. Click it.